Hello, this is a non-spoiler review of Obsession. This is also completely unscripted. I thought I would go with just my raw, honest thoughts, so it's very different to my 28 years later Bone Temple review. But yeah. So Obsession is, at the moment, the hot new horror movie. Uh, well, I guess alongside the Backrooms movie, which I do also plan to watch because it actually looks really good. And in fact, Obsession has a lot in common with the Backrooms movie because it was also directed by a YouTuber. Now, I'd never heard of Barker! It's Curry Barker, you fucking moron. Why would you say Baker when there's clearly an R in his name? Fucking idiot, you stupid fucking moron. You make me fucking sick for making this video or watching this movie. But apparently he's in the long line of horror directors who started out in sketch comedy, like Jordan Peele and Zach Kreger. And I haven't seen any of his sketches, but I do know that he also made a YouTube horror film called Milk and Cereal, which I plan on watching at some point. But Obsession is really what sort of propelled him into the stratosphere. It has been getting insanely good reviews, and it's been killing it at the box office, especially considering the fact that it has a budget of, like, $750,000, which is really impressive. Obsession follows a man named Bear, played by Michael Johnston, who has a presumably unrequited crush on his childhood best friend Nikki, played by Indy Navarrete. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. As I was watching the film, actually, I couldn't help but notice that she was the same actress who played Sarah Cushing in Superman and Lois. I was just kind of sitting there like, is that Sarah Cushing? But then, like, for the rest of the film, Sarah Cushing didn't even enter my head. Like, she is completely fine in Superman and Lois, but in this film, holy shit. Jesus Christ. Honestly, she reminded me a lot of Lily Rose Depp from Nosferatu, in terms of, like, a modern horror performance being so, like, physically impressive. And she's definitely the highlight of the film. Her performance is fantastic.
Oh, no, 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 don't do it! I thought we were having a nice day!
We are.
Why does it matter? I thought we were having a nice day!
But Michael Johnston is also fantastic in this film. Anyway, he has an unrequited crush, and he buys this thing called a One-Wish Willow. And he snaps it, wishing that Nikki would love him more than anyone else in the world. And then, instantly, Nikki is completely head over heels. And it's very disturbing. I saw this on a whim. I'd briefly heard it. I think I saw the trailer for it, and I was like, okay, I'm not really into that. But then I started hearing all the insanely good reviews it was getting, and then I was out one day, just wandering around, and I went past the Odeon, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to see what's on in the Odeon. And I saw that Obsession was on, so I was like, oh, okay, why not, I'll see what it's like. So I bought a ticket, I went in, and it was fucking terrifying. I have a pretty high tolerance for horror movies. I'm not trying to, like, fucking brag or anything or try and seem hard. I'm just saying, in general, I have a pretty high tolerance for horror. But this really fucking pushed me. Maybe it's because I saw it in the cinemas, but this is, like, one of the scariest films I've ever seen. It is, like, the way that Indy plays her character and the way that she's so often framed in shadow and just the weird fucking movement. There's this moment where she does, like, a backwards walk, and I genuinely thought that it was, like, a piece of reversed footage. Like, she looked like she was walking in reverse. It was so impressive. And, like, I'm just blown away by this performance because, like, she was fucking Sarah Cushing in Superman and Lois. I love Superman and Lois, but no offense to her, that acting was not exactly incredible. This is a breakthrough performance if ever I've seen it. But aside from the acting, it's also just, like, shot really well. Like, it's got, like, this kind of, like, minimal, kind of, I don't know how to explain it, kind of uncomfortable style half the time. And speaking of uncomfortable, that's what I felt throughout most of the film. I will say this, if you came out of this film feeling bad for Bear, either you didn't understand it, or you're just fucking weird. Nikki is the victim in this. The person that we see throughout most of the film is very clearly not Nikki. It's some kind of weird entity, some kind of, like, physical manifestation of, I don't know, of, like, Bear's kind of idealized version of a partner. Like, for Bear, a partner isn't someone to be loved and nurtured, it's someone to feed his ego. That's why that's why instead of saying, you know, I wish for Nikki to like me back, he says, I wish for Nikki to love me more than anyone else in the world. So his ego is telling him that in order to be properly accepted by Nikki, he needs to be placed at the top of her totem pole. Now, a lot of people have said, well, he didn't know that it was actually going to work, but he thought it. And even then, he didn't really do anything to fix it until it got too bad. And so he basically takes away her autonomy. And it's really there's one scene in particular that really disturbed me in the moment. And then the more I thought about it after I got out of the cinema, I was like, oh god. I'm not going to say what it is, but hopefully you'll know when you see it. And then there's also this one moment where the real Nikki comes out. And again, I won't spoil, but Jesus, it's so fucking disturbing. This whole film is deeply disturbing, but at the end of the day, it's also a metaphor for male ego, and how some men kind of see this idealized version of women in their heads, and they mainly just want a partner who is just kind of this loving, obedient sex object, quite frankly. Bear doesn't see Nikki as a person, especially after the One Wish Willow, and by the end of the film, he's still an incredibly selfish bastard who puts himself over others. Admittedly, the film didn't fully work for me when I was watching it, but then it was a case of the more I thought about it and the more I was able to take it in, I was like, fuck yeah, this film is really something special. I would, like, already, horror has been doing pretty well this year. I know that The Backrooms is getting plenty of great reviews. I fucking loved Ready or Not 2. I haven't talked about it on the channel, but I really loved Ready or Not 2. And The Bone Temple as well. There was also this one called Primate, about a monkey with rabies. It wasn't great, but there was some good gore in it. Speaking of good gore, there's this film, bro. I'm not gonna spoil, but Jesus Christ. So yeah, that was my incredibly rambly thoughts and review of Obsession. Definitely seek this one out. Watch it in the cinema if you can. I'm going to give it a big old 9 out of 10. It's absolutely fantastic. I would say that I want to watch it again to see if it could maybe get a higher score. But I also don't want to watch it again because it's so fucking scary. Yeah, Corey Baker is going places. Indy Navarrete, again, I hope I'm saying that right, is also going places. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching.